$13.
All right, I'll have to reach out to him and be like, "Hey, bro, you owe me some money." I mean, he's single-handedly stuffing that bank account.
Right?
I think he's good for it.
I mean, at this point, he see exactly what I said. Soon as I hit go live, now she's ready to come back inside.
Go let her in. I got to run off screen for 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Let your dog in, and then we'll get going.
All right.
It's our show. We can start late if we want. We always do anyway.
So, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah.
Okay. Hey, I see us on Rules of Nerdquisition's YouTube.
All right. So we should
We're
be
live on Ghostball Productions too.
should be live everywhere.
Let me know when we're live on the Radja.
We are live on the Raja. So,
Good afternoon. This is the Rules of Nerdquisition. We're back. We're kind of been on and off the air recently. We've had some snafus. I am moving to the East Coast, if you don't know. I am Gretchen. I am joined, as always, by my gallant first officer, the angriest of IT nerds, Gilbert. We didn't have a show last week. You had some storms down south, didn't you?
I did.
Gilbert?
I did. Had some storms. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do the show. Which in turn, like what ended up happening is that my internet was kind of going in and out and sketchy. So even if I were, yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do the show regardless. So yeah.
It's just better that way. And I was packing, so I took the day to continue to pack and downsize. I'm trying to moving cross state or interstate halfway across the country. I'm just trying to downsize by my goal is 75 to 80%. But we're back, and today we're going to be reviewing the episode Star Trek episode 14, season 2, the original series, Wolf in the Fold. And we are joined today by one of the original co-founders of this show. Helped to conceive the show itself. Unfortunately, life gets in the way sometimes, and he wasn't able to join on a regular basis. We're hoping to pull him in a little bit more. But Indak, me and you came up with this podcast originally. We said, hey, we love Star Trek. Let's do a podcast. Let's talk about Star Trek. And Gilbert wanted to get involved. We pulled him in, but you couldn't be there. But we've got you on the show finally.
Well, it's
right.
I remember when it happened. I was on a TikTok live, and of course, as the course of conversation goes, always comes back over to Star Trek. It's like, hey, do a podcast, and then we immediately started because we got to find a name. It's like, well, all right, we could do that, and then we came up with this, and then of course, in Star Trek parlance, a funny thing happened on my way to my comm station. I fell in love again. I happened to get into a relationship, and then just. Other life things happen to get in my way, but if I was going to leave it in anybody's hands, this guy right here, I mean, when you got literally nerd in your name, I know it's going to be taken care of. And like I was saying in the pre-show, anybody who has a Romulan Singularity Core mic, that's cred right there. So I'm in good. It shows in good hands.
It is definitely in good hands, and I know that the joke started initially was just that Gilbert was like, I need to be a guest on your show, and
So,
like
right?
you said, life got in the way, and to no small amount of credit, I don't want to understate this. Gilbert has stepped up to make this show really happen. I mean, all these awesome backgrounds and logos and stuff that he's made. doing the tech stuff behind the scenes, getting us on the radio, getting us on the YouTube. We're broadcasting live on gcpr.live. You can listen to internet radio there. We're broadcasting on Ghost Call Productions over on YouTube, and also the Rules of Nerdquisition YouTube channel. So, and it'll be available on podcasts later. I know I'm behind getting the episodes uploaded, the audio versions. Again, I'm moving across state. My brain is going 17 different directions, all at different warp factors. So it's hard to keep up with everything.
So cut her some slack.
Just don't go to warp 10, because then you transform into a salamander. Just saying.
Right, you know?
Right,
So
right,
cut her
you know.
some slack. Cut her some
Right.
slack.
I definitely will not consult Lieutenant Barkley over what might happen, because I'll get a whole host of symptoms that some may be
What?
true, some
Yeah,
may not
come
be. Who
on.
knows?
Come on. Lieutenant Barkley knows his stuff. He knows his
He does know
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
He's actually one of my favorite characters. I love Lieutenant Barkley.
I at one point I called him Lieutenant Munchausen for reasons.
Munch House.
Did he eventually become like a commander? What was his rank in
Voyager.
Voyager?
I think eventually he became commander, or like lieutenant commander, I think.
At least.
Yeah. I don't ever
Oh, yeah.
remember him becoming, I don't ever remember him being captain, but I want to say he was like a minimum lieutenant commander.
Can you imagine somebody like him being a captain, being
Oh.
that paranoid?
Oh, my
yeah.
God.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah,
As soon as
probably not.
every encounter would be just a red alert. So just
Right.
everything, just a red alert. We're coming to a planet, M class. We're going exploring. Red alert. But
Excuse me, sir. The bridge temperature has dropped half a degree.
red alert.
Red alert.
That would not shock me a bit. I have to be careful, because I have the Amazon Alexa, because she is very nosy. I actually have something on there that if I say red alert, things happen.
Okay, yeah, we don't need the police showing up at your house.
No,
Oh, no.
it's just strictly just aesthetics.
Gotcha. It reminds me of the time that when I used to manage this it was a garden store that, let's just say, catered to the growers of a specific plant. When my general manager was coming to my store one day to drop off some stuff in the truck, what we did, we had, our computer was connected to the store audio system. We could listen to play music from Spotify and stuff like that. We went on YouTube and we found the Death Star klaxon. And we on loop, and we played it, and we turned it up to full volume. Then we all hid. So when he comes into the store, like, they're just and there's nobody to be seen. And it's just booming through the whole store. It was great. It was funny, but that's what potheads do when they have nothing to do on a Tuesday afternoon at 1:15 p.m.
At least you went down the geeky route.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
But as I stated, today we are reviewing season 2, episode 14 of the original series, Wolf in the Fold. This is a Scotty-centric episode. And I don't know. Is it just me, or was there like an unnatural, or not unnatural, but a strange fascination with like Jack the Ripper in the 60s, 70s, and 80s? There were so many books and TV shows about it. And that's what this episode kind of deals with.
I think I don't remember that.
I think so. Yeah. For a while. Yeah, I think there was just some kind of weird obsession with Jack the Ripper.
And who knew he was a non-corporeal being? Huh.
Right. From various,
It's like,
from who knows what planet. But yeah, so the episode opens up, we're on Argalius 2, enjoying some shore leave, hanging out at, the local,
at
they
the
might
local,
not call it on that show, but it was a dance club.
I call it Risa Proto.
Right.
said,
Just saying, if there was a like a Mayan like statue on the tables, it's like, it would have been. It's like, yeah, this makes sense.
Right.
So essentially, if they had some dollar bills, you know what was up. So that's what we're talking about. If they had some gold pressed latinum, they begin some action. They begin some action.
I love how Wikipedia says the Enterprise crew are enjoying some therapeutic shorely. Is that what we're
Therapeutic.
calling? Was that just the nice way of saying it? You know?
Well,
they,
I mean,
see that they went to a strip club.
and what was the phrase that pays? It's like, I know this place. It's like, I know which one you're talking about. Where the women are, yes, I know which one you're
Said,
talking
oh
about.
yes, I know which one
Okay,
you're talking about.
we get it. We get it.
Said, all right.
I wonder
yeah.
if it was one of those ones where, like, say, think Total Recall. I mean, there was also
Right.
Ensign Gomez.
Right.
Deep cut. There you go. Maybe they had one of those there. Oh boy.
Right. So, I mean, they're having some fun. I'm actually surprised that Kirk was more on his better behavior in this establishment.
Right.
Because my thought was like, all these women, like one of them's giving attention to any other crew member but him. He'd be like, no, come on.
He's like, nah.
We've already established that like Kirk is going to get his. But
Yeah,
he's playing it cool this episode. Then again, maybe he's like, yeah, I've got all mine. Scotty needs to,
But yeah,
enjoy himself.
Kirk was the greatest wingman ever. So
I have to say though, just watching Scotty lust after something other than the Enterprise, that was definitely a switch. It's like I almost thought if the Enterprise were sentient, she would be jealous.
Yes,
absolutely,
I agree.
absolutely.
And you could make the argument, because there's speeches we've already talked about this before. Like, God, one of the first season episodes, the naked time. When they got that disease and Kirk cured himself by going into the conference room and kind of like, that's why we call the ship G.
Oh my God, I remember listening to that. I was supposed to be on that, but that's where my life kind of took a turn. Now, I want to take just a quick diversion to that particular one. I remember watching that episode, and I found a cultural reference, even though it would not have been relevant at the time. But remember, what was the maneuver that they did to get themselves away from the planet? What was that called? Time warp. Please tell me I was not the only one thinking Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Let's do the time warp again. No auto-tune there, by the way.
Said no auto-tune. We're safe from auto-tune.
Safe.
Funny thing is, first thing I thought of, was that, but a friend of mine that was one of his songs he used to sing for karaoke all the time was Time Warp. So it was first that, and then Rocky Horror Picture Show. So that was me, because my friend doing that on karaoke.
And you want to know how warped my mind is? Okay, logic would dictate that if you hear something like this and you know a Rocky Horror Picture Show, you immediately would go to, let's do the time warp again. But no, I imagined what it would be like in that moment if Dr. Frankenfurter were the chief engineer on the Enterprise, and it would sound something like this. Let's see. The planet's about to implode, and we must start the warp engines cold. The laws of physics we must break, and it's a chance we'll have to take. It's an act of desperation as we all shiver in anticipation. Thank you. Thank you. I'm here all day.
This has been recorded for posterity, brought to you by the Rules of Nerdquisition. You're welcome.
And there was no auto-tune on that.
No auto-tune. We are safe from auto-tune here. In fact, our auto-tune shields are up. It's all natural here, babes.
Wow.
As soon as you hear auto-tune, it's red alert.
Red alert.
Yeah, here comes Barkley again.
Yeah, we all know who Barkley is. But anyway,
But yes, we are here, Wolf in the Fold. So
Wolf in the Fold. We're chilling out on this planet, and Scotty's like, hey, the answer likes me. I'm gonna go hang
so
out
he's
with him.
yeah, hey,
Kirk gives his nod of approval, like, go get
said,
some.
of course, he's like, you want me to go get him for you, Scotty? I got him, dude. All right, hang on, Scotty. Let me go get him for you.
Why am I a little turned on right now? Good Lord, that is a sexy voice you have there. Yeah, I'm glad I'm only shot from the
So,
waist
yeah.
up.
So yeah, Kurt goes, runs his game, gets the girl over. Scotty's like, yo, hey, big ass Kool-Aid smile, and he's just happy as you know what and you know where.
I think we get it.
They're gonna go take a walk.
So
Take a walk.
take a
Walk.
walk. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a corner around somewhere that nobody can see. It's like, are there any security cameras? All right, let's get busy.
Apparently, if that's the case, this planet does not have anti-prostitution laws, which I'm all
They do not?
for because I don't think that should be a rule anyway. Like, how do you tell somebody what they can do with their own body? That's a whole nother political thing. We're not a political show-ish, but
But hey,
just saying. So
they're on a planet where
It's
hey,
like-
it's cool. So it's cool. They're cool. We're all cool. So
And they said that their culture is Hinduistic. So it's like, just go from
yeah.
there.
So yeah, it's just a one big swinger party. Just a big old
It's-
strip club swinger party.
it's like Indax said. It's
Yes.
Ryza before Ryza was Ryza. It might
Yeah,
as well be
facts.
Ryza.
Yeah, might as well.
They should retcon it as Ryza.
Maybe they just renamed it.
Right, maybe it got renamed. It was Argalius too.
Well,
but, one of the
or
things I
it
hate
could-
about astronomy is the naming of stuff.
Or it
Like
could have
everything
been
is like NGC 5765421. Like, can't you just call it,
not gonna lie,
this
bruh.
nebula or that nebula, whatever?
So, right? But
I know you guys are all number nerds. I'm an accountant. I get it, right? But I can still come up with cool nerdy names and not just like, this is AG 56421. Okay, get out of here with that.
Yeah, that just doesn't get the blood pumping, like
Right.
Ryza does.
right. I mean, and for all we know, I mean, it could have been renamed to Ryza because of this episode. You know. So
Right?
what better way to kind of bring people back into a place, for, tourism, commerce, and all this stuff like that. I mean, you're going to come to Argalius too, where Jack the Ripper is at, or you're going to come to Ryza, where you can get your rocks off. Which one are you going to go to? Nah, I'm not going to Jack the Ripper planet. I'm going to Ryza. And so it would make sense to me, but that's just me.
And one of the two earlier shows did retcon it. Ryza is mentioned. I don't know which one. It's either mentioned in Enterprise or it's mentioned in Discovery. It's mentioned in one of those two shows, but I can't remember which one.
I do remember one episode in Enterprise, I think, where Trip and Malcolm went in there and they kind of like got robbed of their clothes. I was like, I wonder if that was it.
It could have been.
Maybe.
It could have been.
But when you're a couple of horn doggies and you're just you're enamored by somebody, it's like, well, you know what, your other nether regions were thinking for you, and this is what happens.
Right. So, sorry, I don't know what to tell you, man. Just
You're gonna have to just do the walk of shame back up to the ship.
you have
The
to do
beam of shame.
You have to do the beam of shame.
So Scotty leaves the establishment with this young woman.
Very nice lady.
Very nice lady. Her name is Kara. And they leave together. And
And then as Kirk and
there's a
Bones,
scream.
they get ready to go across town.
To that place.
To that place that Bones knows oh so well. They hear a scream. And so just like how they do, they go run towards it. And see, this is how you know that there could be no black people in that one, because we're going the other way. Except for Cisco.
Oh, he don't care.
The other way.
Cisco gives 0 fucks. $1. That's $1.
Ah, there it is. Swear jar violation number 1. All swear jar violations go to $GCPR LLC. Thank you. On Cash App. But yes, and on the other side of that too. So they show up, right? They find Scotty in this alley, in this foggy alley with the woman. She's dead,
Mhm.
obviously. And Scotty's holding a bloody knife. Had Scotty been a black man, he wouldn't get the long drawn out trial that's about to come
So-
for Scotty. Like, now we're throwing you in a metal box, and we're going to drop you to the bottom of the deepest lake.
Assuming he
yes.
didn't get phasered before.
Right,
Right,
just shot right
right.
there. He's holding a knife. I felt threatened. I shot him. So
Yeah, so there's that. But then again, they did say their method was to torture until death. So
Slow torture at that.
a slow torture until death.
yeah.
Yes. So,
So Scotty is detained, obviously, by the local authorities, and they start an investigation. And Scotty is being interrogated by Mr. Hengist. And as I am wont to do on this show, and I will make sure that my streak is unbroken, Mr. Hengist was played by John Fielder, by the way. John Fielder passed away June 25th, 2005 at the age of 80 years old. So there it is. My kill to death ratio is perfect
100%.
in calling out at least one person in each episode who is no longer with us. Scotty was the easiest one. Obviously, I could have gone and just said James Doohan's not with us anymore. That's the easy one.
Now
I could just do Spock every episode, and
that'd be
win.
too easy.
But of course,
So
that's too easy.
I go and I hunt down one person in the show, and it was Mr. Hengist.
And my
So-
connection with John Fiedler, I was like, well, when I
Fiedler, you're correct.
Fiedler, yeah, when I watched this as a kid, I just thought he was just like a kid-like character. He was very
Right.
a little light in the loafers sort of.
Yeah.
And then fast forward until I have get my daughter just born, and my wife wanted to get her into Winnie the Pooh, and I started watching the movies with her. And as soon as I heard Piglet, I was like, that sounds awfully familiar. So I did a little bit of digging, and then I watched this episode again. It's like, are you telling me that Jack the Ripper was also Piglet? Oh my God. There was a serial killer in the 100 Acre Woods. And this was way before Blood and Honey came out. It's like oh, wow.
Speaking of that, so speaking of Blood and Honey, I finally found it because on Pluto, because I saw it, but I'm not paying for it. But I've been wanting to watch it for a long time. But I'm just not paying for it. Finally, I found it on Pluto. Oh, it's so great.
Oh, you want B-movie schlock horror? Oh, go watch that. That was something.
Oh, it's so...
Okay. I mean, since we're bringing this all up, I shared something with the Villains Guild the other day, or the Villains View crew, and I'll have to watch Blood and Honey. But now we have upcoming Popeye the Slayer Man.
Yes, I want to see that one too.
Why? Why?
And
are you going to ruin my childhood one character at a time?
I've seen the trailer too. Like, he's literally in the Popeye outfit. He's got the big puffy giant
forearms and everything like that. And so
killing people with like anchors and stuff.
Yeah. Like in one scene, in one scene in the trailer, he grabs somebody's head and just squeezes it until just
pop.
Yeah. Right, and right after that scene, you see an empty can of spinach rolling across the floor.
I am of two ways about this. It's like my morbid curiosity is going to make me watch this anyway, but this was supposed to be a hero, and now he's squeezing people's heads with his hands. No, he's only supposed to be squeezing cans of spinach.
Well, let's be clear here. I mean, I know everyone likes to believe that he was in love with olive oil, but he was a sailor, and LGBTQ people are under attack these days. So maybe he's just had enough. Maybe he was in the closet and he was ready to come out.
Maybe.
I mean, like, and that.
I mean, we don't know.
We don't know. Nectarine Napoleon was like, "Nah, we just don't like you people," and he's like, "Oh yeah." I'm strong to the finish because I eat me spinach.
He said,
I'm Popeye the Slayer, man. Anyway, see, this is how this show goes, Indak. We start talking about
so we started,
like,
and then we get
Run off on a tangent.
we purchased a ticket on the
ADHD takes
ADHD
over.
train. So
we don't run this show. ADHD runs this show.
yeah. So
My
I mean,
bad.
eventually,
I started that. That was on me.
No,
So
don't
no,
apologize
no.
because it would have happened if you were here or not.
oh yeah, it was regardless, So so
okay,
now,
so yeah, we're gonna do it. Yeah.
Reset.
So now,
Keep us going, Gilbert.
so now, Kirk is directing the whole investigation. When Scotty has to say, what happened? How did this? What happened? And Scotty's like, I don't know. I can't remember. I don't know. I can't remember. I plead the fifth. Captain, I plead the fifth. I don't know. I can't remember.
Right,
And
and they're
throughout
gonna
the-
do like this. They bring in like the chancellor of the planet's wife. She's gonna do some kind of like empathic,
Almost like a mind
mind
meld-ish type
kind
of thing.
And she's getting ready to do this to make sure to see if Scotty's guilty or not. And then all of a
Yes.
sudden the lights go dark and screams and the lights
she
come
screams
on
and she's
and
stabbed to death, and Scotty's there with a
there's
knife.
Scotty holding her body.
And
Like, Scotty
Scotty
maybe I
again,
would've-
he's like,
would've
I don't
gone-
know. I don't know.
I
don't-
get the white man tendencies to want to run to the danger, but maybe in this
Mhm.
case, while your neck is on the line, we go to the other side of the room.
I mean,
It's just, can you put me in that room, lock the door, that way nobody can suspect anything.
Right,
that would
yeah.
be
Right?
the
I
way
mean-
to do it.
yeah.
Yeah,
You know-
absolutely. Like,
And so then,
you're supposed to be smart, Scotty. You're the
I
chief
mean,
engineer
come
of
on,
this ship. I mean, like, you've saved us already countless times in just 35 episodes, and
it's like, dude, you
y'all
dropped the ball
suckers
on
for a
this one.
pretty face.
So you dropped
y'all
the ball
suckers
on
for
this one,
pretty
man.
face.
It's like, Scotty.
Well,
Scotty.
I mean, when we start the episode off and you look over at Scotty, I don't think he stopped smiling the entire time. It's like, oh man, I am.
And it's important. It's important to mention too. I kind of stepped over this. Lieutenant Karen Tracy beamed down first with the psycho
Tricorder.
and she was
Psycorder, yeah.
killed. So Cybo is actually the third woman to be killed so far. So
I find
But
it interesting how they name that a psycho tricorder, like it's supposed to detect psychos. Yeah, that's what I was
Right?
thinking. It's like, well, there is a psycho loose. I know they're calling it psychological, but in this case, I think there is a Norman Bates running amok here. Maybe we might want to find out who that Norman Bates is.
right,
That would be a good
I mean,
idea.
like, you'd think with the technology of the time period, I mean, we can single out everybody's heartbeat. We can
Mhm.
find an angry guy hiding in the engine room who's supposed to be dead. In a previous episode, we did, Kirk's friend who faked his
Right.
own death and blamed Kirk, and Kirk was on trial because I mean, how many trials do we have here? We've had that trial with Kirk. We've had the menagerie. We did that, which by the way,
Mhm.
we had our guest star that day was Chris Hunter, the son of Jeffrey Hunter. The original Captain Pike came on for that episode. That was a great one. We talked about that was another trial.
Right.
Spock was on trial, and now Scotty's on trial. Like
So it's like
everybody's
everybody's
got to be
on.
on trial at some point.
Right. And even in Next Gen, all of humanity was on trial because of Q. And
Right?
Yeah,
Data's
so-
been on trial. Picard's been on trial. Riker's been on trial. I mean, Wesley was on trial for falling into a flower bed.
Who
That is
would have
right.
thought about
Yeah.
that? Wesley Crusher on
On-
trial for falling into a bed of flowers. It's like you guys are taking this way too seriously. But it's like
it's like everybody's got to be on
flowers-
trial.
Yeah, I wonder if those flowers had like some sort of like medicinal, or maybe that's how they got high. I don't know. Maybe they just took that a little too personal.
I mean, yeah, maybe if they fell in, if
Maybe.
it was a patch of medicinal flowers. I know that when I used to produce medicinal flowers, I would have gotten very upset if somebody fell into my garden and broke it.
That's why I go
I don't know.
gummies.
I don't know if there'd be a trial, but there'd definitely be a fist fight to ensue.
Right?
Being that I know that you know several different forms
Something.
of martial arts, they would be turned into a pretzel in no time flat.
Step up, come one, come all. Roundhouses for everybody. Please be patient. Your turn will come.
He said, I can only hit you with one foot at a time.
During this seance before Saibo is killed, right? She starts to talk about this evil force that's out there, and this
Evil
the hunger that never dies.
Said evil's been around since the beginning of time, and it's a hunger that can never go away, and it's this and it's that. It's all kind of ominous things. It's a hunger that can never be satiated.
Right, and that's when she starts calling out all those names like, Kesla, Maraudus, Red Jack, all these different things, and that's when the altar fire goes out, and then the lights come on, and then Scotty's holding her dead body, of course, because Scotty, you're a dumbass. I'm sorry.
Right, and then at that point, Kirk does research into all of the names that she was saying out, and then came across Red Jack as being an alias for Jack the Ripper.
Right.
Jack
and just
Ripper.
to give a shout out to Techno George over in the YouTube chat, he did say Wesley was on trial a second time in the first duty. That's the episode where him and he was in Starfleet Academy, right? With the other cadets.
The Starburst maneuver, yes, I remember that.
The Starburst maneuver with Ensign Sito, who shows up later in one of my favorite Next Generation episodes, Lower Decks. She comes back. I love that episode. And you also get to see, I can never remember his name. The Vulcan from that episode goes on to serve on Voyager and make various appearances there. Remember, he went through Ponfar and tried to make B'Elanna Troi. He chose her as his mate.
Oh,
and he kept
yeah.
But yeah, he was on that show too, so I liked him. The only thing that bugged me, I do understand their reasoning for this, is that the actor Robert McNeil, who played Tom Paris, also played the team commander leader of a different name in that episode, The First Duty. I sort of think that should have been Paris, which would be a good reason why he'd be in prison when Janeway recruited him in Caretaker in the first episode of Voyager. But one Star Trek producer did make the point that he thought that particular character was irredeemable. Maybe. But this is sci-fi we're talking about. Like, going cross-genre here, Darth Vader, for example. The most prolific mass murderer in all of science fiction. Responsible for billions of deaths. Billions. And yet he throws some old guy down a
reactor shaft.
A reactor shaft, and all of a sudden, but it's cool now. He's all right. He's redeemed. And
he turns into a Force ghost. It's like, wow, it's that easy.
It's that easy. But this guy wants to just do something spectacular to graduate from the academy, and one person is killed by accident. Yes, he lied to cover it up, but I mean, is that really irredeemable? I don't think so. I think somebody could be redeemed from that.
Yeah, I think
this would have created better continuity, especially since you're using the same actor.
I mean, in my head canon, that's how it happens. So yeah, it's like I remember that. And I guess to go even further, he does make another appearance in Lower Decks too, if you ever watch that, in the cartoon
show. I haven't watched that yet, but it's on my list.
Oh yeah.
Gilbert has berated me enough.
So no, I'm saying
is that Lower Decks is what I like to call Easter Egg-a-palooza.
Yeah, nice. It is. Quite honestly, it's one of those shows. It is hilarious. It really is. I mean, and quite honestly, for me, one of the best episodes that they had was the crossover one with Strange New Worlds. One of the greatest episodes.
That was fantastic. Yes. I haven't seen Lower Decks, but I saw that episode where they came from the show started. I'm like, I'm watching Strange. Why is Lower Decks on? What's going on here? And then all of a sudden they blast through it was the Guardian of Forever, wasn't it?
It was a version of it.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
A version
not
of
version
the
of it.
original.
Yes. Hmm.
Right, and then all of a sudden they're live action. I'm like, oh my god, that's fantastic.
Yeah, let's just say
Yes.
I was howling through that entire episode. Yeah, but don't get me started on let's see, Subspace Rhapsody. Okay.
That is now my okay. So I said this to Gilbert recently.
Funny you should mention that.
Spectre of the Gun is largely considered. I have largely considered that to be one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek in all series of all time. Just because I'm also 18 degrees removed from Doc Holliday by marriage, and I love that. I love that history of the OK Corral, Wyatt Earp, and stuff like that. I saw Subspace Rhapsody. I can sing every song. I know the whole show. I've watched it like 36 times already. I absolutely adore that episode.
Oh, I got to. I want to go up on just a slight tangent. It's like I can't help it. It's just like I'm just like this bubbling nerdgasm, just waiting to burst right now, because when I watched Subspace Rhapsody, and we come to the part where the Klingons are coming on, and I'm thinking, okay, we're finally going to hear us some Klingon opera. I thought they was going to do that, or
Right.
we were going to hear some Klingon heavy metal. That would make sense. But no, they burst out into K-pop, and you can ask my daughter. I was howling. Klingons and K-pop. That was, mwah, whoever did that. And I also want to harken back to something else that one of the reasons I adore Gretchen to death is let's take the Wayback Machine to April 13th, 2023, the penultimate episode of Star Trek Picard season 3. I get a hot text while I'm on the road. It's like, oh my God, have you seen the newest episode of Picard? And I text back on my Android Auto, not yet. I won't be home for work for at least another hour. And she comes back with, then I won't spoil it, but I thought it was amazing. I had been bawling like 20 minutes. I stopped right there. It's like, who died? Oh my God. And then I go back. It's not percentage of excitement. It's like, okay, so I set my cruise control up about 5 more miles an hour to get my butt home. And so I'm watching the episode, and it's like, okay, I'm waiting. I mean, everything is great. Then we get the shuttlecraft warping into the Fleet Museum, so I'm still waiting. And then they're saying, we need to get a ship to fight the Borg. And it's like, the next generation is going to be flying Voyager, because I thought that's what they were doing, because Voyager knows how to take care of the Borg. And I thought that
I actually thought they were going to go for the Enterprise A.
Or either one. Oh, that would have been so cool. I mean, how more analog can you get than that?
I was thinking
Right.
Enterprise A. I didn't even consider a Voyager. I was thinking Enterprise A.
Yeah, wait, either one would have just rocked.
Yeah.
But then Jordy says, well, I thought I would save this for a surprise, but no better time than the present. It's like, what? You see the bay doors open up, and you see that familiar silhouette. It's like, no.
Yeah. No one died, but somebody was reborn.
Yeah. And
Right?
and then it's like, this can't be. And then the lights hit on. You see that registry number, and then I pick my phone up and I fire off. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! I almost passed out. It's just my inner 12-year-old was screaming. It's like, yes, this. Okay, I'm just gonna say, J.J. Abrams, this is how you do it. This is what we wanted.
Yes.
The original
Yes.
crew back on the D. They gave us the D. That didn't sound right. But
You
we
know
got
what he meant.
We wanted.
I'll take
It's
that
just-
D. I'll
and
take
then-
that D.
And then of course, we have to fast forward to the last episode where Data channeled his inner Lando Calrissian. It's like, oh, you think you're bad with the Corellian freighter? Watch what I do with a Galaxy-class starship, and I maneuver this bad boy like the Defiant. And I was like, yes. And what do we have? The Crusher on tactical. I was like, what? I was just like, Lord, take me now. I just cannot. I can't get any more than this.
I know a lot of people complain that Card was nothing more than fan service.
I don't care.
I
And
don't
I was
care.
like, and?
And
This is what we wanted.
It said, yeah, and? Yes, it's fan service, and?
the first season was good. The second season, you gave us Guinan and Q. And I'm sorry if you didn't bawl when Picard gave Q a hug at the end of that season.
I was in my feels.
Right?
Come on.
And John
Who doesn't
Delancey.
love
and-
Q? I love John Delancey.
Oh,
Sort of
Daddy Q,
low-key.
I
Oh
may
my
have
God, yeah.
may have been a little steamed up. Yeah, a little steamed up.
Oh man. But then, yeah, that final episode. I mean, when LaForge is like, Doctor, I didn't have time to calibrate what you're gonna have to do everything manually, and then all of a sudden the Enterprise just opens up this can of freaking
Can't-
whoop ass, and everyone just kind of turns around like,
So everybody just looks
What
like, what the
the
hell?
fuck? And there's my dollar. There's my dollar. There's my dollar.
Haha, I'm not alone.
They're all like, what the fuck?
I'm not alone.
And she's
Doubly.
like, it's been a long 20 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then
Like,
and the next thing that happens is like when Data is doing his thing, you hear Troy's like, "Why am I sensing enjoyment?" And you see Data over there. It's like, yes, my boy got his groove back. Yes.
right. Exactly. It's just like it was generations right after they blew up the Romulan or the Klingon bird of prey, and he was like, yes.
Yeah. Generations.
I'm gonna have to do this. It's like the moment that got me. I was in the theaters. I saw that, and when they're going down into the planet, and he's just like, "Oh shit!" It's like,
He's like,
"My
wait.
Data,
He's like, wait.
you grew up."
Did Data just say that? No. Did he? He did. No. Yes. No.
And I have to, and I have to say, when after everything was going on, when Data and Geordi in the in Picard is that, and I think we're done here. And then Geordi looks over, just like, he just used a contraction, and he just looks over. No, he didn't. Oh yeah, this is Tangent Palooza. Yeah, it's just that.
Oh man.
No, it's fine. Like, again, we do this all the time.
Again.
I mean,
ADHD train.
and there's not much really to a lot of these Star Trek episodes. We used to do it when we first started the show. We used to dedicate the whole 2 hours to reviewing a single episode. We just don't have enough to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, this
is
one's kind of cut and dry.
Yeah, this one's cut.
Yeah.
Dry. There are a few with some
A little
real
bit more depth
nuance
into it, more
real
depth and
details.
nuance into it. And so, yeah, if those episodes take a little bit longer and it ends up being 2 hours, then it ends up being 2 hours. But
right. But something like this, I mean, Scotty's on trial. Now we've got all these names of these potential alien serial killer type things, as this killer is known on various planets and stuff like that. And now we're trying to figure out who this person
yeah.
is. So
So
we're
is this-
cross-referencing the computer, and it's like, here's the names.
and
Give us
it
the
all-
relevance where they're from.
And it
And they
all
list
points
all the
to-
planets, these
Yeah.
names, and they're like, who in this room has been to all those planets?
And it's only been Heingeist. Or,
Exactly.
yeah. And just,
Hengist, Mr. Hengist.
Hengist.
Yeah, Mr. John Fiedler. It comes back to Fiedler. And there's
And so pretty much it's like this. Found a culprit.
The whole time.
Found a culprit. So he was there the whole time, and he's trying to direct everything to, oh, well, let me handle it. Let me get to the, let me do this. Let me do this. And Kirk is like, nah, man, that doesn't make sense. No, we're right here. No. And so it's pretty much cut and dry. You see that, yeah. It's him.
and we realize, we learn that this entity feeds on fear. And once it's even identified, it's still trying to use its fear to, control the crew of the Enterprise,
Yeah.
to scare them and to feed off this fear. And McCoy has the greatest solution to this problem. Let's get everybody high.
Yeah,
I want what they're having.
Right?
pretty much, yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like, and what happens when you get a
Inject-a-gummy. It's
yeah?
an inject-a-gummy. Like, I'm just going to go around and give everyone a gummy.
So here, here,
Right into your neck.
Here, and so what happens when you get a whole enterprise of everybody that's high? You get the greatest enterprise ever.
And who was the first person they injected? It was Sulu. Now, I know this happened a while back, but that face he made, all I can say is just like, is that a hypo spray in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Oh
Oh my! Like,
that could have been a waste. That was a waste
Oh
moment, but I
my.
didn't. That was not for another few years, but that could have been an oh my moment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And even though we've kind of trashed a bit on the J.J. Abrams reboot movies, I give them 100% props for retconning Sulu as a gay man. And
Oh yeah.
even though they don't name her, you only get to see a glimpse of him and his partner's daughter. We assume that's
It's
Demora,
Demora. Yeah,
Mhm.
and obviously adopted, but
yeah.
I love that you retconned Sulu as a gay man in a happy, fulfilling gay marriage. That's the core of Trek right there.
And the
That's
nice
for all
thing
those
about
people
it,
that are like, I can't believe Trek
Mhm.
is so woke now. Like, oh my god, have you been watching since 1966?
and you know what? That was that scene was maybe a minute and a half, and they didn't beat you over the head with it. It was one and done, and we moved on. But the only
Right.
only people who had
Mhm.
problems with it were certain people with certain
Those
hats.
people. Yeah, we know.
Were
Yeah, I mean,
those people.
Sulu literally walked up to his partner, who's holding his daughter. His partner hands their daughter to him. They kiss and they walk off screen.
That's it.
And that's it.
That's it. It wasn't a slobbering face licking kiss. It was just a peck on the lips, and they
So
go on their way.
no drama, no kind of long drawn out thing. It's just boom,
It was
done,
just
done.
one and done.
One and done.
One and done. But again, we
But-
say this all the time for all you people that are out there like, I can't believe Star Trek is woke now. We know that we've said this before, especially TOS has some problematic episodes. Misogyny plays a very large role in the original series.
Mhm.
There is that one episode we reviewed that had questionable interaction with somebody who was underage.
Yeah.
We've talked about that stuff. It's still very woke, though. It's always been woke.
Yeah, one of
And
the
that
Yes.
episode,
And
I don't know if you know that episode, Indak, was Miri.
yes,
Even though she
Samir,
was
yeah.
supposed to be like super
She-
old, but she was still a kid. And Kirk
yeah.
was kind of like
maturity wise in her brain, she was still a teen. But even
Yeah.
though her body wise, she was like over 300 years old. But maturity wise, she
gives
was
you
still a teen.
kinda-
So it's like,
that kind of gives you Claudia vibes from Interviewing a Vampire.
yes. Yes.
yes.
Yes.
That was I mean, I remember seeing that even as a kid. It's like, oh, that's a little much. It was like, I got the douche chills even when I was like 13. It's like,
Yeah, that was like,
I felt the oogie.
Mm-mm.
I actually kind of have a pseudo crush on Kirsten Dunst. I loved her in the Spider-Man movies. I've loved her. I mean, Bring It On. That's a girly flick. You guys probably didn't watch, but that's.
Oh,
But
I did.
whenever-
I have a wife and a daughter. I watched
okay,
it.
fair enough. But like when I watch it, though, it's like I feel weird about it because it's like my first introduction to you was when you played Claudia. And I was already an adult, and you were a child, and that's just weird. So I don't do that weird stuff. Like I have the same problem with like Elizabeth Olsen. I actually thought she was the older sister of the Olsen twins. It turns out she's younger than they are.
That blew my mind when I found that out. That was she
Wow,
looked
yeah.
younger than them.
Now, granted, I didn't know about her until she was already an adult. So, I mean, and my crush is just, oh, that's a pretty actress, and I like what she does in these movies. It doesn't mean I'm going to go like sending fan mail, stalking your house or anything. But you know what I'm saying?
Right?
Like,
Yeah. I mean,
But back in that day, when Kirk, kind of Claudia vibes. What a great analogy that was.
That was just
absolutely,
what
yeah.
I thought. I was just like, yeah, you have the body of like a preteen / one going through puberty, but you have the mind of somebody who is older essentially than you are. But
How old was Claudia when she died? I mean, how long had she lived? I mean, decades at least.
I think
Right?
she
Yeah.
was almost like 80 years old.
Now I have.
I thought she was like closer to 100. But it could be, yeah.
Now I know that they did. There's a TV show about Interview with a Vampire, and they made Claudia a bit older. So the stuff that she does there, at least it's legal, is still a bit creepy.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, so she was we all know this. She was Oh my gosh. In the original novel, Claudia was 5 years old when Lestat turned her.
Oh my God.
Oh, that makes it even
And
worse.
and I'm sorry, you're gone. Weird. In the movie adaptation, she was depicted as a 10-year-old. In the AMC series, she is 14.
Still doesn't make it any better.
It's not better.
We're not helping here.
Yeah, I did watch that series. It was fascinating, but yeah, they made it. But there were still some sexual overtones to that 14-year-old. It's like, oh, just man, this is like the novel It. There was a scene in the book.
Yes, in the book, yes, where the girl sleeps with all the boys to kind of like solidify their
resolve, I
bond,
guess.
their
The ritual
bond.
chewed or something like that.
Steve,
Ugh.
come on, Steve. I know you're weird. I like some of your books. I think you're a little long-winded, though. We could shorten them a bit. And you've done better in your old age. But
All I can say is, I tried reading The Gunslinger. If you dedicate a whole chapter just to describe a desert, I'm done.
Yeah, who do you are, J.R.R. Tolkien?
Like I'm done. I'm done. If you dedicate the entire chapter of 10, 15, 20 pages just to describe a desert, I'm done.
followed by the next chapter where it's 10, 15 to 20 pages of the protagonist having breakfast.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm
I'm
done.
sure you're not talking about Lord of the Rings.
I'm done.
Oh yeah, Lord of the Rings too.
Lord of the Rings.
too.
Oh, yeah, done. I'm done.
Which is interesting because Tolkien was notable for being best friends with C.S. Lewis, the author of the Chronicles of Narnia, and they consulted each other on their books. The Chronicles of Narnia, there are 7 books in the series. You can read one in an hour. Like, he's very succinct and to the point, despite the fact that the books are heavy in Christian allegory. You know, Aslan is Jesus. They have the final battle. There's an antichrist. All the heroes, you know, fight, pick a side, and either go to hell or go to heaven, and, you know, whatever. But at least you can read them in a week. It'd take you a week to get through the prologue of freaking Lord of the Rings.
My book, I have all of them. I mean, it's a brick. It is a brick. Like, you know what? I give up. I'm just gonna watch the movies.
No, we're Mr. Marco the Evil. We're not talking about Stephanie Meyer. We're talking about Anne Rice. And as someone who's read the Twilight books, I hate to say it, you're all going to look at me funny. They're kind of a guilty pleasure for me. But and by the there is the one book, I can't remember the name of it. Midnight Sun, which is basically the book Twilight, but from Edward's perspective. That book is awesome. Like, the day that Bella walks into school and he first sees her, and in his mind he's like, okay, so I could literally kill everybody in this room before she even has a chance to run, and then I could just take my time. It's gruesome. But anyway, no, we're not talking about Stephanie Meyer. Anne Rice, yeah, I never finished all those novels. Did you guys get through them?
I know I had that as the first one. Interview with a Vampire was a literary assignment when I was a freshman in college. I never got through all of it, but I mean, I thought it was fascinating.
The first interview was a fantastic book, and then next thing you know, then Lestat's a rock star. And I'm like, what?
That was a bit of a jump.
What's happening here? Like, Anne,
Yeah, I never read the book, so
lay off the,
The wacky turbacky.
I know the phrase is write drunk, edit sober, but did you edit?
so
I
you
wonder if
must
she got it
have.
the other way around.
So no,
She
or
wrote
just
sober and edited drunk.
so no, you just drunk through the whole thing. Wrote
Right.
drunk, edit drunk.
Didn't put it down. Should but hey, I can't necessarily fault that method. Look at my favorite author, Mark Twain, was notorious for locking himself in his study, and he would drink and drink and drink and smoke cigars and write some of the very best, in my opinion, period piece novels, especially of a man who lived through that time period. So I absolutely love his work. But yeah, so
Cool.
everybody gets high on the Enterprise. We were talking about Star Trek. Did you all forget? We almost did.
So they got a little high. So
Everybody gets high, and
they got
Spock's
a little
like,
high.
hey, this thing's just gonna dissipate and go away and not bother anybody again. And I recommend that all you high MFers out there, just go back to shore leave. We ain't gonna get nothing done on this ship.
Yeah.
So yeah, just going back, go. We're cool. Everything, there's no danger. We're in orbit. It's fine. And
Yeah,
besides, there's a lot of hookers here, so come on.
I mean, I wrote down in my notes, it's like, die, everyone die, kill you all, while laughing. On his way to the transporter to be dissipated, he died
Right.
laughing. You know what? If you got to go, as a joke said, if you got to go with
With
a
a
smile.
smile.
Go with a smile.
Everybody on this panel knows that quote. But it is almost 4 p.m. This is the Rules of Nerdquisition. We are broadcasting live on gcpr.live and also on our 2 YouTube channels, the Rules of Nerdquisition and Ghost Claw Productions. I am Gretchen. This is Gilbert, and we are joined by one of the original co-founders of the Rules of Nerdquisition, Indak himself. We finally got him on the show, and we just reviewed Wolf in the Fold. What are your thoughts, gentlemen, on that episode? Thumbs up, thumbs down, live long and prosper. We'll start with you, our guest.
It was, this was a prime example of probably the misogyny at the time. I enjoyed just seeing Scotty out of his element and not, like I said, lusting over the Enterprise for a change and actually lusting after a woman that, didn't have nacelles, to kind of go back to the J.J. Abrams Star Trek. It's like, that is one well-endowed lady. I'd like to get my hands on her ample nacelles if you forget the engineering parlance. So it was kind of nice to see him out of his element. And also just to see John Feeler, the Piglet, being Red Jack the Ripper. That kind of blew my mind. And you get how can I say this? Space seance. This was, I would say, I would almost say that, what was that? Cybo was proto Beta Z, maybe. Because she could sense emotions, but she sensed this one. It was entertaining, and it was worth it until the end, where you get to see just shiny, happy people all over the Enterprise. So I would say, for me, it was thumbs up. It was enjoyable.
Robert, what'd you think?
I thought it was hilarious. I thought this was quite honestly one of the funniest episodes of Trek that we have seen.
Did you get the Dr. McCoy special cocktail before you watched this episode?
Oh, of course. I went across town at the spot. You know the spot. Everybody knows the
Where the
spot
women
across
are.
town.
Yes, I know that one.
Yeah, of course the spot. And of course, just to kind of agreeing with you, in that, about the misogyny, and but at the time the misogyny was pretty rampant. Even
it was the 60s.
A lot of it was a little more heavier handed in episodes, and some kind of a little more subtle in others, but you could still see that, hey, misogyny was still there, and it was highly prevalent.
Yeah.
It could have been part of something at the time, which that is the case. And also at the same time could also be something to point out. It's like, hey, this is also a problem in our society. We also need to address this misogyny, and we can clearly see, hey, this is kind of a problem. But hey, it's still hilarious episode. And it was just funny just to see Scotty just completely away from the ship. Just simply because we all seen whenever he's not on board a ship, just how uncomfortable he is.
Socially awkward.
Oh, absolutely. Whenever he's not
Scotty
on,
is definitely neurodivergent.
absolutely. Whenever he's not on a ship, whether it's Enterprise or any other ship, if he's not in engineering, he is just that socially awkward. So
It
clearly,
reminds
yes.
me of a quote, and I actually was talking to Indak about this, who wants to come back for our season finale where we review Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
you must
But
come back, man.
remember this at the beginning of that movie when Starfleet commander is giving the debrief on the engineering deck or whatever, and or no, it's when Kirk actually arrives to do the inspection, and he walks up to Scotty and he goes, I heard you had an issue. He's like, well, I had a wee bout, sir. He's like, a wee bout of what? Shore leave.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Bro
overall,
don't like to be on shore leave.
Yeah, no,
he
he
needs to
doesn't.
be on his ship.
He needs to be in engineering. He needs to be in that engine
Right.
near those nacelles. He needs to hear that humming. That's what he needs. So, but overall, I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it a lot, and give it a thumbs up on that one. What about you, Gretchen?
Overall-
How did you what your thoughts?
I don't dislike the episode, but it's certainly not one of my favorites. If I were like scrolling through, say, Pluto TV and going through the various Star Trek channels they have on there, and this was on for TOS, I'd probably go to TNG and Voyager and DS9 and see what they're showing instead. Not necessarily one that would grab me and pull me back into it. Yes, I think it's kind of hilarious. I don't get the interest in Jack the Ripper, or even like what this macabre fascination with serial killers is in general amongst the American population. Not a horrible episode, and I just want to throw this out there. Mr. Fiedler died one day after Paul Winchell, who was the original voice of Tigger. They died one day apart.
Oh,
Wow.
So interesting thought there. But he did do so many other great things. I mean, he was in 12 Angry Men. He was in A Raisin in the Sun, even Bit Parts. Movies that really kind of stood out. He was in the original Odd Couple movie, and also did some appearances on the Bob Newhart show. So he got around. We don't do the kill to death ratio to make fun of the people who have passed. We do it to honor you, sir. Thank you for your contribution to Star Trek. I would say live long and prosper, but I don't know. In heaven?
I think you've already done that.
Right?
Yeah,
we're gonna
no,
do- we're
that
gonna
was
do something-
inappropriate.
When are we ever appropriate? We're going to do something fun here for the second hour, though, as a little conversation Gilbert and I had, and all of a sudden it was like, this needs to be a topic on the show.
Yeah.
Captain
Yes.
versus Captain. Starfleet Captain Deathmatch is what we're doing right now. I'm
Who
going to
would
take care
win?
of my daughter real quick and get her some cookies, but you guys square up and get ready for this. I'll be right back.
So yeah, absolutely. We're talking who is going to win in a fist fight. Who would win in a fist fight? With captains to choose from. Caveat to this, okay? Any captain from any show, they're all in their prime. Okay, so let's say you want to say Kelvin Universe Kirk against, whatever. So, but has to be captain. Has to be captain. Not Commodore, not Admiral, captain. Okay?
All right.
Caveat. And in their prime. Any universe, but it has to be captain.
Man, this is going to be tough. Man,
But see, the thing is, because there's going to be some good ones. There are going to be some good fights.
yeah, to be
because,
a captain, you have to be a strong character. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be tough.
We need to talk about their
Yes.
tactics too. What kind of tactics would they use? Because one of the
Right.
things I think that brought up this original concept was we were talking about the episode. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, where Q was on Deep Space Nine with Vosh.
I know which one you're talking about. I don't know the name of it, but I know which one you're
Yes.
talking
And he
about.
does the little pugilist thing with Cisco and
then-
Quarks, and Cisco pops him right in the face, and he's like, "But Picard
Said
never
Picard
hit
never
me."
hit me. He goes, I'm not
Cisco's like,
Picard.
I'm not Picard.
Yeah, it's just, and you have to remember,
yeah.
Cisco didn't really have the kind things to say about Picard in the first episode, for obvious reasons.
Right.
He had some
yeah.
angst there.
They made up. Eventually.
Eventually, it took some
Took
years.
a while.
Yeah, but eventually,
It's
they
one
made
of
up.
one of the few times where Picard was really kind of stripped naked and beaten down emotionally. When he says, "Oh, we met before," and Picard's like, "Where?" And he was like, "The Battle of Wolf 359." And Picard's like,
Oh,
Bam.
Ooh,
Awkward.
yeah,
So, it's great seeing you again. And
yeah, I gotta go. We're out of here. Need any supplies? We're bailing.
so, yeah, so
we gotta go to Rigel 6
look at the
for,
time, and
something.
what was that number one? Gotta go.
Oh, if only that were an option. But when the communicator's like right here and everybody can hear it, it's like, yeah. So it's like, unless you were saying, could you text me like right about now? I gotta get
the
hell outta
other
here.
rule for this battle I would ask is, do we include first officers? Because I have always maintained, and I believe that Gilbert agrees with me, this Picard is kind of like Kirk split into two different people. Picard and Riker, I mean. Picard is the diplomatic side of Kirk, and Riker is the womanizing, fighting version. Whereas Kirk fulfilled both roles in the original series. They kind of, because I'm telling you, I mean, I'm gonna call this an outright. Picard's gonna get his butt kicked in most of these fights.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
he's
pretty
too
much, yeah.
diplomatic.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, there were times where he did hold his own, but not exactly what he was known for.
A little bit. I'm going to give you my prime example. Star Trek Generations. They come back from the Rift or from the Nexus. Picard and Kirk come back from the Nexus, and they go after Soren. Soren beats the crap out of Picard, not once but twice in this movie, like knocking him down the hills. Kirk never took a punch. He died, yes, after he fell off a bridge, but when he was fighting Soren never landed a blow, not one.
Because Kirk was seasoned.
Yeah.
Kirk is like,
Pretty
nah,
much,
bud.
yeah.
It's like, here we go.
You don't know.
like,
You don't know. I invented this thing called Kirk Poo. Yeah.
yeah, Kirk Fu. There you go.
So right. So yeah.
We have a new term on Rules of Nerdquisition. Kirk Fu. It's the hammer.
It's the double hammer fist.
Yeah. Yeah. The Kirk chop. Yeah. The double-handed Kirk chop.
Mr.
But let's
Marco,
see,
over in the YouTube channel, Kirk probably did have every galactic STD, but they also had medical care because they were socialists in space.
That too. That too. Probably. And
I mean,
we all know this, that Bones hung out. Same with Kirk. So he knows the CD joints, the same place that Kirk knows. I mean, they both know that one spot on the other side of town. So
Hell, they all know that one spot on every planet in the Federation.
they know that one spot. They all
By the way, how
know
do
that
you,
one spot. So Bones probably already has the cure for all STDs on him already, just ready to go. So he's like, you know what? We can raw dog it tonight, Captain.
I mean, think about this. I mean, this is just how my mind works.
All right.
How do we know that they did not invent a prophylactic force field? Just saying.
I've
It could be
never
a little
thought
bit
about that
tingly,
before.
You know what?
and it could block STDs at the same time. for her and your pleasure at the same
It's
time.
It's electrified for her pleasure.
Boogie woogie woogie.
Oh, you got a little implant behind your ear. You
So-
just push the button and shields up.
Oh, just Star
So
Trek
we'll go
version
to-
of a lightsaber. Just saying.
I said no. Then
I see my Schwartz is bigger than yours, Lone Star.
And then, of course,
Struggle love force
somebody-
fields. Thank
Right,
you, Mr.
struggle
Marco.
love
Struggle
force
love
field.
force fields.
and of course somebody will add a vibrating feature to it. Oh yeah, let's vibrate this beat. So yeah.
All right, so yeah, I mean, I'm kind of putting Picard at the
Some-
bottom of this list.
Picard,
He's-
yeah.
well, not necessarily, because I'm not sure Archer's that much of a fighter himself either.
I mean, he talks a big game.
He does.
Um,
He
and
talks a big
He talks a
game.
very big game.
And Gilbert
Um,
brought this to my attention the other day, and this is what backs that statement up about him talking a big game. Jonathan Archer would be MAGA.
Never really thought about that.
Cause see, I originally thought about it like cause I texted Gretchen about that a few days ago before we talked about it a little bit and came up with the captain versus captain. Cause I was thinking is that out of seeing everything in Enterprise, right? Plenty of times, Captain Archer has been very whiny. He's been very entitled, extremely xenophobic,
Especially in regard to Vulcans.
especially when it comes to Vulcans.
Xenophobia towards Vulcans throughout the entire Enterprise run is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And so-
in a way, I almost have to defend him on that because
I say if he's
the
not
Vulcan
Mag-
High Command, I'm sorry, but those people were just arrogant sons of
Well,
bitches.
They were
Yeah.
jerks. They were jerks.
Yeah.
No doubt about
Yeah.
it. They were
What I
jerks.
was saying is that if he's not MAGA, he has
MAGA
a lot of
adjacent.
MAGA tendencies.
He's a strong Republican.
Very strong.
Yeah, I'll go
yes.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Picard is like an outright leftist,
Oh yeah.
like
Mhm.
far left. I mean, communist, like straight up
Yeah.
communist,
Yeah.
space socialist. You know that stuff. Kirk is probably center left, with some right wing philosophies.
Especially
Yeah.
when it comes to women.
Kirk is
Yeah.
probably a pro gun person.
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely
understand.
pro gun. Absolutely,
pro-gun.
yeah. I'll say is for me the main fight it will come down to will be Kirk against Cisco.
I'm gonna have to get that
So-
one, Cisco.
I'm giving it to Cisco.
I'd go with Cisco on that one.
I mean, dear God,
Three.
what he
'Cause I mean-
did to get the Romulans into the war, that's some pretty cutthroat stuff right there.
One of the
Yeah.
very best episodes, yeah, where he did that whole like personal log about how he did this big conspiracy, and then at the very end he's like, computer,
Delete log and it's like, yo.
I mean, he punched Q, an omnipotent
Punched Q.
being. He was the definition of FAFO right there.
Right? So
And yeah, also yes, Techno
It's
George Spencer,
Spencer.
for hire.
that's my number
Hawk.
one. Number one
Hawk from
is
Spencer for hire. Yep.
yeah, that's my number one. It's gonna be that the number one fight between those two.
And I'm sorry,
I'll say
Cisco ain't
number-
falling for the double hammer fist.
No.
Now, I mean,
that?
he might get hit with it once. It's just like,
Like
let me show you what I can do.
So he might
Yeah.
get hit with it and he'll go.
Well, and we've talked about this before. Like,
Yeah.
you know, Gilbert and I have talked about like who is our favorite captain, and Gilbert and I are pretty solidly in agreement that Cisco is our favorite of all the Starfleet captains. Just one, I love Avery Brooks. I love Cisco. He's got some of the best episodes. My favorite, Far Beyond the Stars, which is that throwback episode where he writes Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
And then to hear the story about how that episode was written, and when he did that scene at the end where he falls down in the office and he's crying, and the other actors were like, Avery was gone. He was in that moment. We couldn't pull him out of it. It was so powerful, so intense. so representative of the struggles of Black and brown people of that time period in America that I can't watch that episode without tears. I can't.
That
It's amazing.
episode hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does absolutely hurt. And here's the thing: it should hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't hurt you, you don't have a fucking soul. There's my $3.
Well, that one I say it's that one was given. It's just my God. If you want to point to an episode where he said when was Star Trek woke, I mean this is a little bit.
So
point to that one. And
that's one. That's definitely.
And when
one
I
of them,
point to when I want to go back to the original series, the one that I give a prime example on is "Let That Be Your Last Battlefield." It was literally about racism, black and white. I mean, how much more subtle can you get? And that's the one I usually go to.
But it's subtle as a ball peen hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the funny thing is because even then, Kirk and crew are just like, we don't get it. You're black on one side, you're white on the other. Okay.
I don't understand. But no, said no. But he's black on the left side. I'm black on the right side.
And they're like,
and
what?
Huh?
What?
Oh, the things they had to do in the 60s to get past the censors, because, oh boy, you know that there was some people who really did not want that show to air.
Oh, absolutely
no, they didn't
not.
Want. They didn't. We haven't done it yet. I don't think it's this season. I think it's next season. The one with the Greek type people with the mind powers, that the whole Kirk kissing Uhura episode. They didn't want that to air. That was in danger of being pulled.
Yeah.
Even though the first interracial kiss was technically non-consensual because it was forced.
And technically it was here too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no doubt about that.
But they go.
Yeah. So.
But although there is Captain Michael Burnham. I mean, she has studied, Vulcan martial arts, so.
And she also carries part of Sarek's Katra.
That is
so
true.
So she has his collective knowledge and experience.
Yeah. So.
And Vulcan Fu, is there a Vulcan Fu?
I forgot the name of it, but there's a Vulcan martial art though. I forgot the name of it though.
Then I will find out right now.
Oh.
Susmana.
Yes.
Susmana was a form of ancient Vulcan martial arts. T'Pol was trained in the arts of Susmana.
Yep. So.
Yeah, I think you got a little bit of that in the JJ in the first movie, especially when Spock was a child and those kids like just berated him because of his mother. I have and this is why I say you never go after somebody's mama, and that just goes over all species.
Oh yeah.
The moment he says that, it's like, and what did he do? This kid was this size smaller, and he gave that kid the business, threw him down that pit, and just wailed on him. And all he caught was a cut lip. That poor kid probably had to be sent to the hospital. Then fast forward when Kirk was trying to get him to get him emotionally compromised. What did he do? He insulted his mother, and oh boy, we're off to the races. Chopped in the neck, wham, right there on the console, right, almost puts him right through it, and has his hand right around his throat. Little kinky though, but
Daddy,
and not that I would know anything about that. I would just say, yeah, don't make fun of a Vulcan's mom. They will snap, and they've got Vulcan strength. And when they're being that they have repressed emotions, when you get them to show their anger, you're gonna die. Just saying. The only reason they didn't die was because Sarek was there to stop it.
They led up to the whole. They led up to the whole thing too. They're like, when Kirk is like, I have to emotionally compromise you, and Spock Prime is like, trust me, I am emotionally compromised.
And when you see your planet get blown up, it makes you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care how resolute you are, resolved or conservative you are.
You see something like that, it's gonna fuck with you. That's two.
It Hit you in the danglers. Yeah, we've made $5 off this show already. I don't think the Indac, have you dropped one?
I have been
You
consciously
Not
trying
yet.
not to.
Right, yeah. So we're $5 in, and it's all on me and you.
Yeah,
All right.
I've been trying to be a good boy.
Fair enough. I mean, money's hard to part with these days, believe me.
Oh yeah. Even though I would consider this a good cause, but I mean, I would just give it just without the fucks.
Boom! There it is.
Oh,
Wow! I just played
so
myself.
look here, man, and
Ah,
we did all that without having to sell a Cybertruck.
Ooh, don't
Bum, bum, bum.
start it.
$6 from the Rules of Nerdquisition. This is unheard of, actually.
So yes,
It's unheard of.
I think
We've never done more than $1 or $2 on this show. Now we've made 6.
Yeah, I think we've made more money than Tesla has in the past couple days. That we have.
There's a term I have for that. I consider this schadenfreude delicious.
Fair enough. Yeah. But I guess back to this whole fighting thing. I mean, Janeway, she's a strategist, so she might not engage directly, but she might come up with a.
I think she would come up with a good plan. She would come up with a good plan, on how to beat someone.
Have Chakotay execute it.
Of course, Chakotay would probably be part of the plan. Whether it be
she's gonna look over at Chakotay and be like, "Go get her, Ray."
it's like, you see, right there.
Now
do something.
No, I mean she's not afraid to throw a punch. I mean, let's
No.
She's not afraid to, she's not afraid to throw them paws or anything like that.
and
But
make life or death situations. Let me reference Tuvix.
Tuvix. Now, Tuvix.
That was rough. That was rough.
Yeah.
But I was just saying she's got some. If she has to
She
do it, she'll-
can. I think like this. All right. Because of Tuvix, if we will know, Janeway has no problem whatsoever in getting down and dirty if she needs to. So, if that means whatever she has to do in order to win that fight, she's going to do that.
give her a pint of coffee and let her loose.
Fair enough.
So no.
Give her that nebula full of coffee.
Yeah.
Said no.
And then she's
No.
stopping her.
See, that's where you're wrong. Coffee is what calms her down. You tell her there's no coffee, and the only person that could give her coffee is that person, and you have to whoop their ass.
Fair enough.
They're getting their ass whooped.
That guy over there, his name is Benjamin. You got to beat his ass to get your coffee. I'm just saying.
So, all right, that's all I need to know.
It reminds me of, I read a Cracked article years ago. It was like 6 reasons a zombie apocalypse would fail and fail quickly. And they go through like all the normal stuff, like, hot weather, cold weather, fighting is a terrible way to spread disease, all these logical things. But the very last one was number 6, and it was guns and the people who own them. And their analogy was, imagine as a human being, every time you wanted to have a sandwich, you had to fight a lion in unarmed combat.
Right.
So, Cisco, you want to survive? You got to fight that woman over there who will murder for coffee.
So she will. She has no problem in. Right. Yeah.
How do you think she got that dent in her coffee mug? Beating people in the head. It's actually from the Year of Hell, but anyway.
But I will say, yeah.
Great episode. 2-parter, by the way. One of my favorite Voyager.
I'll still say Cisco's still my number 1, although Janeway's number 2. A real close number 2 because of coffee.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, the coffee jokes aside, I don't think she's number 2. Cisco's going to win hands down
Oh, yeah.
against Kirk. It's going to be the biggest drag out, bloody knuckle buster that you can imagine.
Yeah, I mean,
Cisco's
they both.
Yeah,
gonna
that's
win.
true. Yeah,
Cisco's
that's
going to
true.
win, but he's not going to win easily.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, there'll be
Cisco
ripped
put-
uniforms all over the place.
Oh yes, the abs and pecs and all kind. Those,
It'll be everywhere, everywhere. So you want a Starfleet Saint Swole meat fight?
there it is. There it is, right there. Cisco is going to put down Picard, Janeway, and Archer without much effort.
Yeah.
If we extend into first officers, Riker's going to give him a run for his money, but he's not going to. Riker's not.
So Riker will still. Yeah. Maybe
All right,
Spock. Maybe Spock will give him that business, but
Well, he has the advantage of Vulcan strength, too.
Yeah.
Vulcan strength
because he's
yeah.
got
And
the Vulcan strength.
all you got to do is just grab him by the neck, and then boom, you could just beat his unconscious body. You know?
All right, now,
No.
That sounded weird.
now Gilbert,
Anyway.
being that Gretchen hasn't seen Lower Decks yet, I just wild thought, where would you
Oh.
put Captain Freeman on this one?
Oh God.
Oh,
Now- Oh gosh. All right.
she's a bit too stiff. I've never seen her in a fight. But if
I think like this. All right. Probably in her youth, I'd say in her youth, she got into nothing but scraps, just
yeah,
all the time, everywhere. So I think honestly she would. She would. I think definitely she would hold her own against Burnham. Probably beat Michael Burnham. Captain Giorgio.
Giorgio's a martial artist, though.
Giorgio,
too, so,
yeah.
I mean, and she's kicked some serious butt.
Yeah, so not sure about Giorgio, but I think she could definitely take on. Burnham.
and I'll give
Janeway.
Bert.
I'm not sure about Janeway. Maybe Janeway. Maybe
I don't
Janeway.
know Captain Freeman. I mean, I only know the name, and she's in that show, so I can't really compare on that one. I'm throw this one out. There's kind of an odd one. Captain Lorca is going to get his butt kicked kind of all around. I think even Janeway could take out Captain Lorca.
I think Captain Lorca and Captain
I
Archer
think he's
would
a
be
coward.
would
I think he's a
that
coward.
that would be a good fight between two mediocre white men. That would be the that would be the mediocre man throwdown on that one.
Now, being that it was eventually revealed that Captain Lorca came from the Mirror Universe, and that they're a very violent society, I would almost think he would pull some dirty tricks.
He would.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because he's a coward, though.
Yeah.
I think he is a
absolutely, yeah.
Because the way he died, it might make me think that. I mean, he talked a tough game. I mean, when he was when they were fighting the Klingons in the first season, it's like, I mean, he was training Ash and all that. It's like you thought that he was a badass, but then you see him go back to the Mirror Universe, and when he's like in front of Emperor Giorgio, he was a sniveling coward. So yeah. Talked a big game, but unless he played dirty tricks, if he go unarmed, he's going to get demolished.
Sulu's going to hold his
yeah.
own against most, especially if you give him a sword.
Oh yeah.
I will protect you, fair maiden. Neither. God, that was so good. Oh God, that was so good. Just to see him shirtless and oiled up once again. We got a little steamed
the Baby Earl episode.
The Baby Earl. So, how do you think would Captain Pike fare? How do you think he would fare in that?
Captain Pike's a fighter. He's
Because
definitely a fighter.
he's definitely a fighter.
He might pull a strong third place here behind Kirk. If Cisco's number 1, Kirk is number 2.
He could
Pike
put a
even
strong
may-
third. Yeah.
He could make a case for second place.
Now we have to differentiate. like say like the Pike from the Kelvin timeline, the Pike from Strange New Worlds, or the OG Pike. We didn't get much of him, but I mean, you could definitely tell he's seen some stuff.
Let's consider the OG from the original pilot and the Strange New Worlds Pike. Let's consider them the same character, same person.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're in the Prime universe.
All right.
So we're not going to be considering the Pike from the
Kelvin
Kelvin timeline,
yeah.
just because Bruce Greenwood, you did a great character. I loved Pike in those movies, but you're getting your butt. You're not a fighter. You're a diplomat. You're a strategist. You're not a fighter.
But he does have good aim, and even when he was strapped down to a chair, he did off a couple of Romulans. Just like, wait, I mean, he's good from the hip, but unarmed.
Oh yeah, I mean,
know.
we're doing like unarmed combat here.
Yeah,
we're not talking like gunslinging and stuff.
Yeah, pure combat. Yeah,
Right.
Right. Yeah.
I think Pike Prime makes a solid case for third play, or is a strong third and makes a solid case for maybe number 2. I would actually kind of like to see Kirk and Pike fight it out. That would be a good one. I think it'd be a better fight. I think it'd be a better fight than with Cisco. Because Cisco, yes, it's going to be a dirty fight between Kirk and Cisco, but I still think Cisco's going to clearly have the upper hand through the whole fight.
Yeah,
he's going to take some hits, but he's going to win handily.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing what Cisco went through the Dominion War, I mean, he is a seasoned battle veteran. I mean, it's just, I don't think
honored by Klingons.
Yeah,
honored by Klingons as a true warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Oh yeah. So number 1, definitely Cisco.
Yeah.
The better
no arguments there.
Definitely
There's
the better fight. The better fight would be Pike and Kirk. Would be the better fight between the two. Yeah.
Because they have similar training. They would be of similar ages. I mean, Kirk is a little younger than Pike, obviously, but similar backgrounds, similar training, all Starfleet. I imagine Cisco probably grew up on the streets before he even went to Starfleet Command. And even though we live in some like super socialist utopia of the future, the streets are still mean.
The streets are still the streets.
He's from Louisiana. He's from Nolans, man. He's from Nolans.
Like
I don't care,
and
black,
you've seen,
brown, white, whatever. You grew up in Nolans. You fighting. You grew up fighting.
Yeah, I mean, regardless
Gumbo
of
and fist fights.
So regardless
that's
of
man.
Regardless of whatever case, streets is streets.
Streets is streets.
Yeah, I mean, off captain, but one of a Street Fighter I would think of is O'Brien. He fought Cardassians, and he was bitter about that. So I imagine you get into a fist fight with him if he were a captain. Ooh, it's going to be ugly. Very ugly.
Yeah.
That's one reason we had to limit it to captains, because O'Brien is probably my favorite Star Trek character, period. And I both love and hate the O'Brien Suffers episodes, which are some of the best Star Trek episodes of Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Even Palomini does such an amazing performance in all of those episodes. If I could meet any Star Trek actor today and I had my pick, he would be the one.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And I hope you go off onto another tangent. Have you guys, aside from the guest appearances, have you ever had any direct contact with somebody from the Trek universe?
We almost had we had an opportunity to have Adam Nimoy on the show.
Oh,
but he wanted a $500 payment. And I'm sorry, this podcast is broke. We don't make no money. We got $500. You know what I'm doing with that? I'm giving Gilbert 250 of it. We're going to call it a successful day. All right.
There you go.
You're not even in the show. You're just, your dad was in it. Much love to you.
Yeah.
Loved your documentary. Sorry, man. You ain't worth $500.
I think
not to these broke ass nerds.
The closest I ever came is I listened to a podcast called the Bob Siska Show. It's a political podcast, but he also does interviews, and he is a big Trekkie as well. He had he asked for questions to ask Tim Russ, who is a big astronomer, and I asked a question of him if he had an unlimited budget, and he ran NASA, what would he do with it? And so Bob Siska asked him that, and they expounded on that for like 20 minutes. It's like that was the closest thing I got. It's like I got Tuvok to talk for 20 minutes. That was just that was so awesome.
Tim
And
Russ is famous for
Nice.
loving his fandom. He
I
loves
love
his
that
fan
about him.
base. And he is so
yeah,
excited
absolutely.
about being in Star Trek. One of the stories I told on a previous episode was like he had an opportunity. He knew he had a potential to be on Star Trek Voyager. And he had other opportunities. And they're like, you got to take these now or you won't get them, even though Star Trek wasn't guaranteed. And he's like, I can take these and they're guaranteed paychecks, or I can wait and maybe get Star Trek. He waited. He gave up honest to God paychecks, waited, got Star Trek. And he loves talking to his fans. He loves his fan base. He loves Star Trek. And those are the actors we love, are the ones that not like, oh, stop talking to me. Like, you're in the show, man.
Yeah, and he was kind of like
Yeah.
Jeffrey Combs before Jeffrey Combs, because he was in TNG before. He was in Generations. Let's not
Yeah.
forget Spaceballs, Combing the Desert.
We ain't found shit. No, I mean, but some of the other people, I mean, we've mentioned before, we had Chris Hunter, the son of Jeffrey Hunter, on the episode when we reviewed the Menagerie. We've had Steve Warneck, who wrote the episode Deep Space Nine episode, The Abandoned, and also is doing an audio podcast or an audio drama called Helios. We have his number. We want to get him back on the show, but we've had some people connected, and Helios actually employs several people from Enterprise. It's got Connor Trenier, who played Trip.
Cool.
Yeah, it's got him.
Who played the pilot on Enterprise, the black guy. I can't remember his name.
I know it's Montgomery. I think his last name is Montgomery, if I remember right.
It might be, but he's on that audio drama. There's a lot of Star Trek talent on that show.
Like a lot of them from Enterprise.
It's
Enterprise
supposed to be
talent
released
from
soon,
yeah.
right? Didn't you tell me that recently?
George told us that he's got Helios done. He's looking for a distributor now. So I think that is where he is at currently.
And Gilbert and I were given the
Anthony
opportunity to
Montgomery.
listen to Anthony Montgomery.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you,
Gilbert
George.
and I were given the opportunity by Steve Warneck to listen to the first several episodes of Helios, and it is a fantastic audio drama. It is fantastic. Like we're over here, like
honestly,
what happens next, man? Can we get more?
Like we are salivating for more. It is.
I know.
It is so good. It is.
Yeah, hooked us
Quite
up,
honestly,
man.
it is amazing. And so when
It's
it
nice to
comes
have
out,
connections.
I guarantee you, it's going to go viral.
Tom McLaren is on that show as well, right? He's on Helios.
I believe so.
He
Yes.
does
Yeah.
he does a voice on Helios.
He does a voice on Helios.
Tom
Yes.
McLaren's he played an extra, but he was on the reboot of Lost in Space on Netflix. He's been on the show.
Yeah. He did a couple. He did it was a horror movie, but it was like a Christmas horror movie. He did that in December.
Ralph's Bad Christmas.
Ralph's Bad Christmas or something like that. Yeah. And he's working on another movie. He posted on Facebook. I forgot the name of it, but he's working on another movie now.
Ralph's Perfect Christmas.
Ralph's Perfect Christmas. Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever had a perfect Christmas.
Ralph is not a good guy.
No.
One of those. Okay.
It's a play on words. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ralph's
yeah.
not a good guy. So, yeah, we've had some people on here. We'd like to get more down the road. It's still up in the air. I know I have a ticket already, and Gilbert's going. We were going to just with all the packing, and it cost me $6,000 to move across country. It's crazy. But I have tickets to go to Comic-Con in South Carolina and Greenville coming up April 5th and 6th. And me and Gilbert want to be there. I know Thomas the Villain's going to be there. I've got some stickers made that we were going to give out with the Rules of Nerdquisition logo and addresses on. we were going to meet Jonathan Frakes. He's going to be down there.
That
and
would just
Yes.
wow.
My not so subtle ass would be like, "Hey, I'm nobody, but we got a podcast."
I don't know. I think from what I've seen, Jonathan Frakes seems to be pretty accessible. I mean, I remember watching a TikTok video of, I guess they were doing the Riker maneuver challenge, and he had this.
Right.
They had Jonathan Frakes just reacting to it. He seems pretty accessible, and any time that he is interviewed or anybody who talks about him who was directed by him, they say he is just an awesome dude. And I remember, I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard, but Gates McFadden actually had a podcast briefly. It was called Who Do You Think You Are? And she interviewed several different cast members from Star Trek. The first one she had was Jonathan Frakes, and oh my God, he is a potty mouth, by the way. And,
He's a fun guy, though. He's a fun guy.
Oh yeah,
and he loves Star Trek. He's actually going to be he's directing episodes of season 3 of Star Trek.
He's directed, he's directed episodes in literally
Discovery, Voyager, Enterprise, every series.
Every series he's directed episodes, yeah.
Except for TOS.
Just simply because he wasn't alive.
Right. He wasn't around then, yeah. Well, very young. He's a little older than me. He's like 60, I think.
Oh, well, then
63. But, he was probably watching Star Trek as a kid, like I was.
Yeah.
All of us were. It's like, oh, Star Trek's so cool.
The first time I met John, I knew about Jonathan Frakes, and this is going to sound weird, was from Dukes of Hazzard, where he played Boss Hogg's cousin, if I remember right. And he was about to marry Daisy Duke, if you remember. That was...
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was interesting. I didn't realize that at the time because, I was watching that before TNG came out, and then I realized, wow, that is a pretty Jonathan Frakes right there. It's just like, oh, you go, Daisy. You go, girl.
Yeah. Jamie Lee Hogg is the nephew of Boss Hogg.
And I believe Jonathan Frakes.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes, I'm looking at images of him. He's got like the old cowboy bow tie kind of thing. The little.
Yeah, he's pretty in that episode. I got to say.
Well, and you figure it's got to only be a couple of years before TNG came out. Like I watched Dune, the original Dune, the other day. Came out 1981, I think.
84.
84. Okay, so Patrick Stewart's in. I'm like, did that guy ever have hair? And then I'm thinking, well, geez, Next Gen only came out a couple of years later,
and he never ages.
Well, he's showing it now. He's showing it now.
Now. It just took him 40 years to show it.
It took him 40 years to do it. Yeah, I mean, if I could age like that, I'm all for it. No offense to you, Sir Patrick. I am not talking down about you. All right? I am not. So, yeah, but the Dukes of Hazzard ran between he was a recurring character on the show between 1979 and 1985. So, all the way up to 1 year before TNG came out on the air. So
yeah, I mean, I just didn't realize that at the time, and then once TNG came out, when as Q would say, you weren't so stolid without the beard, and we got to see him out there. It's like, wait, I've seen that guy before, and then I watched those episodes of Dukes of Hazzard. It's like, oh my God, he was a redneck before he was the first officer.
Techno George in the YouTube chat says Jonathan Frakes played Captain America on tour. Like,
Captain America what?
What?
Okay, I need more exposition.
Hold up,
on this one.
George. We need more clarification on that one. Okay. On tour, played on tour. What?
Wow. If it was maybe a stage play or something. But I'm trying to picture.
So, I'm trying to
Captain America.
I'm trying to picture
heroes on parade, including Jonathan Frakes as Captain America.
So listen, I'm trying to picture Jonathan Frakes singing when Captain America throws his mighty shield.
I'm pretty sure he's got some chops. I mean, if anything that Subspace Rhapsody taught, Star Trek actors can sing.
Yeah,
I know, that's why I want to hear.
Anson Mount, who was nervous about the episode, did fairly well. Now, my favorite song is "I'm Ready" by Christine Chappell.
That was awesome.
Right.
That's my favorite song in the whole episode. But
I still can't watch that episode without. It's like I know the clowns are coming up, and I am expecting something else. But every time the K-pop comes up, I have to contain myself, or I'm just going to have to go to the bathroom because I'm going to pee
But
myself.
they always get people that have the actual chops to do so. Like Jonathan Frakes actually plays the trombone. He's been playing it since he was a kid. So
And
when
I
he's
played
on
trombone when I
screen-
was I played trombone too. It's like this is awesome. That's why I love TNG so much, because one, I played the trombone, and two, Wesley was kind of like an analog for me. He was like my age. It's like he was like representative of my generation. And now he is like king of the nerds. And the fact that he is a traveler now, he is omnipotent. It's like, oh, now I'll bet he could go up to Picard. It's like, I dare you to tell me to shut up now. I dare you to, because I will yeet your timeline into the sun.
And his podcast is really the one that kind of is really successful. The Ready Room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's had everybody on there: Gates McFadden, Jonathan Frakes, Jerry Ryan. I've seen all the episodes with them on there. I mean, it's a really good episode. I mean, come on. I mean, he went on. I don't really care for the show that much. What's the one with Sheldon, the TV show about the nerd people?
Oh, Big Bang Theory. Yeah.
Big Bang Theory. Thank you. But I mean, the nerd references and cameos, and the fact that like Will Wheaton was Sheldon's arch enemy,
His mortal enemy. Yes.
his mortal enemy, and made several appearances on the show. I think it's fantastic.
I think one of the best lines, and I never seen it, but it's just a clip. I guess somebody was trying to heckle him in an audience. It's like, live long and suck it. It's like, yes.
Right, exactly. But
Uh,
yeah, I mean, I'm really hoping to get down there. It's a matter of, like I said, fundage, with $6,000 going to a moving company, trying just to pay for gas for 2 8-hour trips there and back.
Oh,
It's rough.
man.
I'm
Oh,
working
my
on it.
God.
I'm working on it. I already bought the ticket, though. I don't want to just give it away or not use it.
Well, I hope you can go. I hope we can get footage, because I would live vicariously through you guys.
We want to
So,
go live
yes, I wanna-
from Comic-Con.
I want you to be there,
Oh.
Gretchen. I need you there, Gretchen.
Doing my very best. I'm doing my very best. I should know
Yeah.
within the week if I can make it or not. And I just find somebody to donate a couple $100, buy me some gas money. I'm there. Like I said, I'll sleep in my car. I don't care.
Oh, I
So we're not
love
getting-
driving.
You're not going to sleep in your car. If you need gas money, we will figure out a way to get you gas money.
That's the biggest thing. It's like I said, I did not. I went into this move a little naive, thinking, $1,000, $2,000, rent a truck and all that stuff. And and then my dad brought up the point too. He's like, because we were just going to rent a truck and do it one-way move with U-Haul. And my
Okay.
dad brought up the point, who is in pretty good shape. He's my mountain climbing partner, by the way, but he is also 75 years old. And he's like,
Right.
I don't want to carry heavy shit. I'm like, you know what, Dad? I'm 51. I don't want to carry heavy shit. I worked for a moving company 20 years ago. I know what it's like. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So we were just like, we need to hire movers. And by the way, I'm going to do this on. I know he's not listening, but I'll let him know. Whitner's Moving is who I'm using out of Columbus, Ohio. It's a Black-owned business, by the way, Black-owned private business. I am very proud to have hired you guys over like all these big companies like United Van Lines and Mayflower and all that stuff. I met the owner. He's a fantastic person. I'm very happy to support that company. So rock on. Shop local.
Awesome.
Yeah, especially in this climate today, you got to give them all the, just got to help them out wherever you can.
Exactly. He was just super friendly. I met him and his wife when they came out to do the estimate, and just, I've never met a mover so excited to move somebody before.
That's
Like,
somebody who
okay.
loves their job.
Yeah, right?
I mean,
But, yeah,
I'm an exterminator by trade, and I try to have fun as much as possible. I mean, just to kind of give you a little bit of where my nerd cred comes from. I drive a Toyota Corolla, a pretty common car, so it's kind of hard to pick out on a parking lot. So what I have done, so I know which one's mine. I put on my back windshield on the driver's side, I have the Federation and Klingon Empire symbols. On the passenger side, I have the Rebel Alliance and the Galactic Empire. And on the wing windows on the back, I have the TARDIS, and I'll be having the symbol of a Dalek on there. Now, a Dalek, for a pest control professional, is kind of like our patron saint, for obvious reasons. I may have, and just This is how I have fun at work. I may have gone to some jobs, and this is just in my head. And if I'm like searching out for something and I find it, I may have channeled my inner Dalek, and I may go, pest identified, location observed, all units converge, exterminate, exterminate. This is how I have fun. Now,
I could just hear the enterprise computer screaming that at people.
and now, sometimes I go Star Wars. I may look at this, especially when out in my front yard, I ran over a yellow jacket nest with my lawnmower, and they let my legs up. And after I was able to get the feeling back, I take my truck home, and I had a 25-gallon power sprayer back there. I wheeled it out. I looked down, and I channeled my inner Palpatine as that. And now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational power sprayer. This is where my mind is. If you have fun with your job, it's never a job.
Or even just in life, I'll drive down a gravel road and be like, asteroids do not concern me.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
This is why I was having, and I have to make a Q reference on this one.
Oh.
Sometimes if like somebody's just gotten in over their head and they think they know all this, if somebody who suffers from Dunning-Kruger syndrome, I look at them, I cock my head, and I would just say, the hall is rented, the orchestra engaged. Now it's time to see if you can dance. Channel my inner John Delancey.
There you go. Nice.
I am a repertoire of useless knowledge.
One thing I used to do whenever you would get the blue screen of death, first thing I would say, I've lost the bleeps, I lost the sweeps, and I've lost the creeps. I see the blue screen. I've lost the bleeps, I lost the sweeps, I lost the creeps. The what? The what? The what? You know. The bleep.
Michael Winslow. What a shout out to Michael Winslow. Spaceballs and from Police Academy.
Oh.
So yeah, I get it.
Well, I guess I have to say this. So, Gretchen, have you ever had like a nerd moment at any of your jobs, or at least even in your head, even if you didn't blurt it out in the open?
Mine was my last job. I worked in customer service for a credit card company. I worked in the billing department. Thank God I don't do that anymore. I'd rather just do math like I do now. But people would ask me questions, and I'd be like, what we would say, well, I'm going to review your account. And we put them on hold. And in my brain, it's like, anytime someone asks me to do something and I need to look something up, I get data in my head. Stand by. Processing. Every time somebody asks me a question, it's like, stand by, processing. Whether it's a blonde moment or me having to look something up, it's always I'm processing.
I can see that cord coming out of the side of your head staring directly at Locutus. And I know exactly where you got that from.
Right?
Exactly. So that's my nerd moment. And given that we are about 8 minutes out from the end of this show, so we're going to do what we always do, and we're going to go around and do a debrief and just give some, it's final thoughts in the villain's view, but here it's a debrief is what we call it. Next week on the Rules of Nerdquisition, we are going to be reviewing The Trouble with Tribbles. One of the most beloved episodes of all time. So yes, that one we're looking forward to that one. Should be fun. And then we're only 3 weeks away, Gilbert. We're only 3 weeks away from the episode that started it all for you.
Yes.
The episode you want to see. The episode you like, see?
It's the first episode of Star Trek, see? Of the original series, see? It's the very first one, see? It's a piece of action, see?
Yes. Grab your cards and get ready to play Fizbin.
Turn it on the radio.
Yeah, see?
See?
So,
I want him dead. I want his parents dead. I want his Tribbles dead. See?
I didn't see them all dead.
I'm sorry. The way you did that with your mouth. Just at the side. I'm sorry. I'm about to take my inhaler. That was comical. Oh my god! It's like if it was Popeye with a little bit of the gangster movies from god dang it! Oh, what was his name? The one who was in Ten Commandments 2.
Charlton Heston?
No,
that was the
one
first one.
The one who was the one who's like say it, yeah, that guy.
I always think of the gangster from the Bugs Bunny cartoons.
That's kind of him.
The one with the hat pulled down over his eyes. He's like, turn it on.
Edgar G. Wright or Edgar G. Robinson?
Yeah. Edward G. Robinson. Yes, that's the typical gangster. What you would think of. Just that's what I was picturing.
Yeah, Robinson. Yep.
Yeah. Because he was the one that was like, yeah, Shay.
Very, very, very like God, now I can't think of his name. The cigar smoking guy from the noir movies of the 50s, the black and whites. He's so freaking famous. He's like,
it's always on the tip of your tongue and never there when you're dead. But 2 hours later, you're going to come up with, that's who it was.
Of course, it's one of the most famous like noir film. He always played like the detective kind of guy.
Humphrey Bogart?
Thank you.
Aha.
Thank you. Yes,
okay.
Humphrey Bogart. Like I could not think of his name. Like, oh my God.
Here's looking at you, kid.
Here's looking at you, kid. See? But anyway, yeah, so next week is Trouble with Tribbles. We're trying to get back on track. I think we're doing all right. So we'll be back next week to do that. No word of a guest yet, but thanks for coming on, Endak. This was a fun, wild, all across the board episode. Versus Captain versus Jack the Ripper.
I think I had the biggest nerdgasm I have had in like several years. And it's being I'm going to be traveling next week. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do this. But when I try to come on, it's going to have. I'm going to be building up for a couple of weeks. So who knows? I might be blowing my load a little bit harder next time. Oh, that didn't sound good.
So, if you come back in 2 weeks, it would be for the Gamesters of Triskelion.
Oh. I need to bring my clothes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what I can do.
With the pink hair, she was obviously liberal.
Yeah, absolutely. Liberal.
But this has been an absolute pleasure, and I have to, like I said, I remember saying this. If being that we kind of came up with it, but I couldn't, be the regular co-host. But who better than this gentleman over here? I've listened to several episodes while I'm going to go see my girlfriend in Scranton. It's a 4-hour drive. It's like, this dude's got more holes punched in his nerd card than I do, so that's saying something.
Now you don't undersell your Trek knowledge. You definitely possess the lexicon over there.
I do try.
Right? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, I've got a great person to help out with this show. Even though you and I came up with the idea, it doesn't matter. And you're always welcome back again, anytime. We'll never tell you no.
Oh,
excellent. I'll be sure to let you know anytime we get any special guests, if you can squeeze you in and get on here to talk to some people, because we want to get some more people.
All right. I may,
absolutely.
If that happens, I may have to get like a jock strap so I can keep it in my pants. So yeah, I'll make sure that I have that handy.
Now, we're trying to get Chris Hunter to come back. So
that would be awesome.
We want to get him with
Mark Myers,
right?
Mark Myers, yeah,
the model maker.
Yeah, Mark. He's I want to say he's done models for different Trek. I'm not sure episodes or movies.
Just don't ask him to make an Enterprise refit model.
Not a Constitution refit.
He's very tired of doing those because yes, it's the best. It's the best.
Because he's had so many people ask for a Constitution refit. He's tired of doing Constitution refits.
He's so tired of doing them. Yeah. Although I do really like the Strange New Worlds Enterprise. I really love that version. It's beautiful.
Oh, that
it showed up at the end of season 1 of Discovery.
It's beautifully designed.
Oh, that is a sexy ship. Yes.
But with that, I've got nothing else. Again, thank you, Endak, for showing up. As usual, Gilbert is going to send us off, and we will see you all next week for the Trouble with Tribbles right here on the Rules of Nerdquisition on GCPR.live and also on YouTube. Gilbert, take us home.
Yes. So great episode, a lot of fun, hilarious, great conversation. Figured out, we all know Benjamin Sisko, number one, throw them paws. Absolutely. Whoop everybody ass. And Dak, great that you were able to come by. Definitely please come back. We need you to
I
come
will.
back. So with that, everyone, keep your tribbles spayed and neutered. Live long and prosper. Take care.
Recording stopped.
Oh, for a minute.